What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm back in New Jersey, as you can see, and there is snow everywhere. It's not gonna last. Tomorrow and the next day are gonna be 42 degrees and rain. This is all gonna melt, no more snow. So I'm headed over to the parts store to get a few things I need as I'm installing a performance part on the Integra Type R. But first, let's do a cold start on the Durango SRT. You guys know you love it. Unfortunately, this could be the last cold start with the factory exhaust, as I'm going to GT Haas next Monday, 1 week from today, to meet up with Paul at Family Cruisin' and Steve at Chicago Scat Pack on Instagram to have some fun, make some videos, and get this exhaust done with GT Haas. It's gonna be fantastic. Some really exciting news. Stay tuned for a video later in the week for more details, but Paul and I have been talking. We're gonna be doing a fan meetup in Chicago later that week on the Thursday or the Friday. More concrete details to come later this week, but if you want to meet up with Paul at Family Cruisin' and myself, I'm gonna have the Durango there, and I'm sure he's gonna have the Hellcat. It'll be a great time to get to know us, chat, check out the cars, talk about the YouTube channels. So stay tuned for a video talking about more details on that later in the week. So on to today's video and why I'm headed to the parts stores to get a couple of things I need. I was sponsored by Skunk2, so big shout out and thank you to Erica over at Skunk2 for sponsoring the Integra Type R. Lots of goodies to come, and I'm going to show you what's going on the Integra Type R today. So this box showed up. I posted a picture on Instagram, and it has all the goodies inside: t-shirts, banners, stuff for my cars and coffee events that are coming up in the spring. And there is the header that's going on, the Skunk2 Alpha header. This is the best header for the K-Series engine as far as power is concerned. A lot of people are saying the fitment is bad. I'm going to find out. Now, I have seen and heard about people complaining having to remove the oil filter to get this header on, but that's not a big issue, and I've always removed the oil filter and the sway bar to get a K-Series header on. It doesn't make any sense to complain about that, but this should be pretty easy. So you can see how it pairs cylinder 2 and 4. Most headers pair 3 and 4. And they're much larger collector welds right here than on most other headers. So whether fitment is an issue or not, I don't know. Only time will tell until I get in the garage and install it. But I will tell you one thing is for sure, that the power gains with the Skunk2 are definitely the best out of any header that I've seen on the Integra Type R, DC5, or RSX Type S. They're definitely the best gains. I've had OBX version 2 race headers, CompTech race header, I've had a Jackson Racing header, and they're all good. From what I've seen and the results, the Skunk2 still outperforms all of them. I loved my Jackson Racing header, which I paired up with my Jackson Racing supercharger and a lot of other bolt-ons on my RSX, and you heard my dad in my other video talking about how fast it was. So it worked out great. However, with the Skunk2 header, there's gonna be even more power on the table to be made. So it's time to go to the parts store and get the exhaust manifold gasket that I need, and then I'm coming back to put the Skunk2 Alpha race header on the Integra Type R. I know it's gonna be a lot louder and it's gonna sound amazing. I cannot wait to get it on. This summer is gonna be a lot of fun. I have cars and coffee meets going on every month this summer, so if you guys wanna meet me and come out, check out my cars and coffee events, I'll have more details on that coming up in February and March, as our first cars and coffee is gonna either be in March or April, depending on the weather, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. What I'm looking for right now is a breaker bar or a pivoting wrench with an extension on it. This way I can access the header bolts on the Integra Type R. This could be bingo right here. So this might do, but it's a half drive and I don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe go with the 3/8. Except this isn't long enough. So it's gonna be one of these two. This way I can reach I have one very similar to this, but I broke it. So I need to get another one. This way I can access the bolts easier. So if you look around, you can see it's raining and the snow has already started to melt. The whole week of 40 degrees is coming. You can see the sexy Durango over there. Really hate filming on a GoPro, but don't want to bring a big camera in the store. I film on something a lot larger and people would see it. I don't know how they would react, but I ended up getting both ratchets and the exhaust manifold gasket. Now I'm gonna go get a better jack. So it's time to go get a low profile jack. I had one a year or two ago for my BMW and I ended up breaking it, never bought one after that, as I've never really needed, as the Hellcat and the Durango are not very low. Definitely need to get one now because the Integra Type R is lower than the Hellcat and it's gonna be harder to get the jack under there and I don't wanna mess around with that. So I'm gonna go look at a low profile floor jack, and after I do that, then it's time to put the Integra Type R on the jack stands, and then it's time to install the Skunk2 race header on the Integra Type R. The crazy part is the weather doesn't know if it wants to snow, freeze, rain, or just regular downpour. It's partially frozen rain that's falling right now. It's crazy how the weather is changing from 17 degrees to 42 in only a day and a half. Oh, look, a Durango RT, and he bought it at Sandstone. Good old Harbor Freight. Not the highest quality tools, but very affordable, and I'm just gonna see what they have for floor jacks. I'm very selective at what I buy at Harbor Freight, but I do have one of their 7-inch automotive polisher machines from Chicago Electric, which I paid $20 for in 2007, and it still works perfectly to this day. So some things they sell at Harbor Freight do last a very long time and are good quality. It just depends on what you're looking to buy. So I'm headed in here to see what kind of floor jacks they have. This is going to be interesting because they always have good prices on floor jacks and I need one pretty bad. This is a pretty good floor jack right here. I like the low profile. A lot of nice jacks here. I just have to figure out which one I want. Damn, it is snowing out here. It was freezing rain just a little bit ago. I ended up settling on this floor jack right here, which will handle up to 3 tons. Very low profile and perfect for the Integra or the Hellcat. Won't be as high as the other floor jack, so it won't lift the Durango, but it's also $80 cheaper, and I don't really plan on lifting the Durango, so it's kind of a waste. You can see there's kind of like flurries falling, partially frozen rain, almost like hail. It was mostly rain earlier. The weather just keeps changing. Now I have a lot of tools, but I figured I need different size extensions in 1/2 and 3/8. I got the Pittsburgh brand, which is Harbor Freight. They're not that good unless you get them in the Impact. Impact is hardened steel. It's a lot stronger. They're really decent for the price. 20 bucks for that whole set. Can't beat that. And the same with the deep socket set that I got for Impact as well. Half drive. I already have plenty in the 3/8. I might come back to get a 3/8 set as well. I used to have a cherry pick, an engine stand, and a bunch of other things for building engines. But when I sold my shop, I sold all of that and ended up losing a lot of my tools. But with the YouTube channel, I'm going to be buying a lot of that stuff back. It's really, really crazy how the weather is changing so much, but the Durango doesn't care. It'll eat snow for breakfast. Time to get this header installed on the Integra Type R. The Durango's a beast in the snow and rain. If you ever get stuck in a situation where it's too tight with a wrench, you just slide this wrench over like this. It allows you to tighten, or you slide it over like this to loosen. The angled end has to point in the direction you want to go, and you just slide it right over. And it gives you that extra leverage with 2 wrenches. It's a really neat trick that I learned back in the day. First, I'm going to remove the heat shield and get this out of the way. And then after I do that, I'll be able to access the bolts on the header. So here's the Skunk2 side by side with the Type R Integra header and downpipe. Now I'm just going to remove the oxygen sensors and get them installed into the Skunk2 header, and it's time to install it. So here's my oxygen sensor removal tool. It slides right over the harness. It allows you to remove it with a ratchet. Make sure your ratchet is completely parallel to the socket itself, which will make a much easier time to remove this. So I've got the oxygen sensors now installed in the Skunk2 Alpha header. It was a pain in the butt to get the primary oxygen sensor out. There's some sort of ridge on the Integra Type R Cat. I don't understand why they did that, but it was a pain in the butt to get it out. So the Skunk2 Alpha header also comes with a defouler right here. I've got it straightened and locked in, and then I've tightened both oxygen sensors in position. Now you will notice that the primary oxygen sensor in the Integra Type R stock catalytic converter downpipe is after the 2-to-1 collector, versus in the Skunk2 header it's on the 4-to-2 collector, which only reads from cylinders 2 and 4. Once I get the K Pro, I'm no longer going to need the secondary oxygen sensor, as it's going to be turned off, so I'm physically going to remove it and put the primary oxygen sensor down there, which is where the 2-to-1 collector is, which is where it should be. Now I'm going to show you guys a really cool trick with the Skunk2 Alpha race header. When you're installing it, you're going to need spring-loaded bolts, but you're not going to have to buy any. You can use the one off the Integra Type R, which I removed right here on the 4-to-1 collector. Now there is no retaining nuts on the end of it, as they're welded onto the Integra Type R header. So in order to rectify that problem, there is 2 nuts that come off the heat shield on the Integra Type R header, one on the left side, one on the right side, and they fit perfectly. So you can reuse those if you're doing this on an Integra Type R, which makes the job so much easier that you don't have to go anywhere or spend any extra money. Now I'm not going to tighten down these bolts at all until the header is torqued down to spec. This way I know exactly where I need it to sit, so this way it's not binding on the car. You want to make sure everything is situated just right with the exhaust system and everything's torqued down. This gets torqued last, so there's the least amount of movement so that the header won't crack, but also going to have to install motor mount inserts to prevent that from happening. Now I've had headers on my RSX before, and I've never had to worry about it cracking, and I've had a one-piece header, and all I've ever used is motor mount inserts, so I think that'll be more than enough. Now the factory exhaust manifold gasket is average at best. The Fel Pro is a much better gasket. You can see it's thicker and it's made of lead, so it's going to compress a lot more. You can almost feel it when you push on it with your fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and install the Skunk2 race header now. I cannot wait to hear what it sounds like. So because I had to remove the oil filter to get the Skunk2 header on, I'm going to go ahead and change the oil with synthetic signature AMSOIL 5W30. I'm also using a K&N signature oil filter. I was thinking about the Purelator Boss and also the Mobile One, but the K&N is a really good filter and it's better than Honda OEM. And I'm also going to be putting on a magnetic drain plug. I didn't have time to get the Mishimoto here as I didn't anticipate changing the oil today. I should have, but I'm going to use this until the next oil change. It's not as good as the Mishimoto, but it's much better than stock. This is a much needed oil change. Welcome to day number 2 in the Skunk2 Alpha header install. I had to wait until the morning to finish the job, as the header did not come with the hardware to bolt the downpipe to the catback. Now I do have the nuts from the factory catback. On the Integra Type R downpipe, the bolts are welded to the manifold, so I have to go get some stainless bolts, nuts, and washers. This way I can finish this job. The weather's much warmer. It's like 45 degrees. I'm gonna take the Hellcat, so it's time for a cold start. You guys know you love it. American muscle right there. Oh yeah. Time to get going. We're gonna head over to the store to get these nuts and bolts to finish the install and get the oil changed. Tomorrow I'm going to do another epic video with the Durango SRT. That is gonna be awesome.
So check this out, I need to get a bolt for this nut on the Integra Type R for the cat back in order to bolt the downpipe for the Skunk2 alpha header, and they have a shelf here. I think it's going to be an M12 or an M10. That doesn't fit, and neither does that. That's a 1.5. So here we go. It's an M10 125. So there we go, it's a M10 by 1.25. As you can see, it gets stopped there about one full turn. And on this one, about a turn and a half. But when I put it on the M10 by 1.25, it goes all the way down. So I need some M10 by 1.25. It just means it's a 10 millimeter, and the 1.25 is the thread pitch. It's very important to know thread pitch because you can have 1.25, 1.5, 1.75. So you have to be very careful of that. They will strip your threads if you don't have the right thread pitch. Now standard is a little bit different. You can see up here 3/8 by 24, quarter by 20 is the typical standard on most bolts, like household items. Even some cars, quarter 20 is what a lot of people use in body shops, but this is metric as it's a Honda. So as a backup plan, I'm gonna get the aluminum M10 by 1.25 to go with the factory nuts. However, I'm going to use the stainless setup. So I got the stainless M10 by 150, 35 millimeters, with the lock washers, retaining washers, and nuts. I'm gonna go with a full stainless setup as I think stainless hardware is better. So I got the bolts I needed. Now I can finally finish the job. Rolling up on the sexy kitty right there. Another start for you guys. Oh, that sounds so good. Time to go finish this job.
Well, unfortunately, that's going to do it for this video. You're going to have to wait until the next upload to see me torque the bolts to spec and finish the header install and hear how it sounds, which I'm going to be filming tomorrow. So stay tuned for that video. I also have a very special video in the morning with the Durango SRT. 2 videos I'm shooting tomorrow. One is with the Durango. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And the second video is going to be me finishing up the header install and another performance part for the Integra Type R, which I wanted to wait for because I put a header in. So let's go ahead and see if you guys can guess and leave a comment below, especially if you know the RSX/Integra Type R with the K20. What could I be waiting for that's going to complement the header and protect it? It's something that protects it and helps out with the engine a lot. involving a one-piece header. So I got that coming tomorrow. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to finish the install, put those in, do the oil change, and let you guys hear it and see how good it sounds with the race header. Plus, I'm shooting the Durango video tomorrow morning as well. You guys are going to love that. Chicago GTOS comes on Monday. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe as well. Leave a comment below. For all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for watching all my videos. Also, don't forget to support the channel at drivewaydemons.com. Got lots of stuff coming. Share the videos in the channel. Got to get the subscriber count up. Lots of goodies. I want to get another car for the channel this spring or summer, so keep sharing the channel. You guys are doing great. But until the next video, I'm Corey with Driveway Demons. Remember, have fun and be safe.